In this tutorial I'm going to show you once again how you can put yourself inside the Iron Man mask, but this time we're going to look at those iconic scenes in Iron Man and Avengers where we see the inside of Tony Stark's mask when he's actually flying around as Iron Man. So we're going to do this, we're going to make this this type of picture. To do that I've got two images here which are the heads-up displays. I've just found these on Google, did an image search. You can actually draw your own if you wanted to, but just for experience I'm going to use these. So I'm going to download these the two pictures, heads up 1, heads up 2. I'm going to stick those onto my desktop. I also need a picture of me and you need a picture of you, so I've gone to Photo Booth and I've posed in what I thought would be an interesting expression for inside the mask, and I got a black sheet and held it up behind me to try and get the same sort of dark background that we would have in the picture. So I'm going to drag that, I'm going to drop that one on my desktop too. Now all three of those I'm going to control click and open with in Adobe Photoshop, and there's the three pictures. So there's me. Now first thing I want to do is let's get the heads-up display. So where is it? Heads-up display, there's one and there's another. Now this one's fine, so let's just cut the bit out that we need. So I'm going to use the rectangular marquee to select all that. Just there, the rest is dead space, so let's just get that. Let's copy it, go onto the picture of me and paste that on. And maybe that's a bit big, so I'm going to click the move tool, make sure I've got a tick on show transform so I can see the handles. Let's just scale that down a little bit, move it around about there, and you can see it's got a harsh white line to show that it's still in the mode where I can change and edit. If I press enter, that'll go to a faint grey and it's finished being moved about and transformed. Let's go to the other one. And this is fine, but it's got a load of stuff saying where I got the pictures from. So I'm just going to again get the select tool, draw around the bit I want, which is just that bit. And again, edit copy, let's go over to me, edit paste. But this time, because actually this is what I would be looking at. If you look at the writing, you can see it's designed for us to read as a viewer, but actually it's for me to read inside the helmet, so I need to just flip this around the other way. So again, I'm going to grab that, I'm going to grab one of these and flip it round, so it's the other way around. Let's just move it, let's get it round about there, and again I'm just going to shrink that down and perhaps put it over the other side for me to look at on that side of the face. And that's about it. Now the two of those, so we can actually see the face, instead of this being a normal overlay, there's lots of different settings that we've got, and I'm going to go for screen. And what screen does is make anything that's black transparent. So if I do it on there, you can see a little bit, but you can't really see me because actually this layer's in between. So again, I'm going to do it on this one, click screen, and the black becomes transparent. So now we can see the heads-up display over my face. So let's just zoom in a little bit, and that's the type of thing that we're looking at. Now what else? I don't feel I'm quite inside the helmet there. Now I've done this before in another tutorial. To put myself in the helmet, I added like a vignette. I added some shadow around. So how am I going to do that? Let's click on the background layer. Let's go layer, new layer. Let's call it shadow. Let's get the paint bucket, make sure the ink's black, fill it in black, and I'm just going to hide those two for now. And I'm even going to hide this layer, but I've still got it selected, so I can see where my face is. I can go to my elliptical tool. Let's draw an ellipse around the face. Let's see again, so you can see I'm on that shadow layer. I'm going to delete what's inside the ellipse and go select, deselect, and then I'm going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and I'm going to add some blur so it looks like there's a bit of shadow around. So perhaps around about there, so perhaps about 59 pixels on this particular image. It'll be different for you. Use your eyes and work out the type of effect you're looking for. It's a bit tricky, this one. Maybe around about there, and perhaps the black's just a little bit too black. So I'm going to change the opacity. That brightens it up just a little bit, but gives me the shadow effect that I wanted. I'm happy with that layer, so let's lock that layer off. Now these other two layers, I'm just going to select them. I'm going to make them one now. I'm going to join those two images up, so I'll do that by going to layer, and I'm going to, let's just see if this works, convert to smart object. Let's put the two together, but we've lost the effect of the screen. We still needed to do it first because it meant it merged the two pictures properly. But I'm going to do screen again, and once again you can see me through the image. Now if this is inside the helmet, it actually needs to curve around the face, so it's like the screen is all around it, like the original. So I'm going to see if I can bend this somehow. So I've got a filter, and I'm going to go to distort. I think I'll try Sphereize, and you can see this creates like a bulb, like a sphere, and we can see the effect sort of there. What's it doing to the shape? It's sort of bulging it out, and I think probably around about there looks okay to me. It's about 78%, and you can see the effect that's had. It sort of stretched it and curved it, so it actually looks a little bit more like it's wrapped around. I think now it's too big, so I'm just going to rescale that. Hold Shift, Smart Filters, so it's going to look a bit odd when we do this. So see, it's shrunk down already. I'm going to shrink it down a lot more, around about there. Press enter, I get the curve back. Let's move that over the face. Now that looks a little bit too small, but what I'm going to do now, I've got a load of black that I don't need. I'm going to crop my image and just bring this up so it's more like so it's more like that. We can zoom in, you can see the picture we're getting. Now other things I might like to do, perhaps all this red, perhaps that would be illuminating and shining on my face. So let's just hide that for now. Let's put some red on the side of this face. How can we do that? Well, let's go to me, the picture of me. I'm going to add an adjustment layer, and let's do color balance, and let's just push the red up so it's like a very red face now, not quite that red, but a bit of red on it. But I don't actually want the red everywhere, so I'm going to click on the mask, and let's get some black paint, fill it all in black, so where it's black we get no effect. So I'm going to get my paintbrush, set the paint to white, and I'm just going to paint the areas where the glow would be, which would perhaps be on that side of the face, just there, perhaps a bit on the inside of the nose like that. It's not everywhere, maybe just in there, so a touch on the face there, definitely. Let's add that to the ear. So when I put that back on, it's like the red is shining. Maybe actually that heads-up display needs to be a little bit bigger. Let's go back to there, get the size, and again it's going to give me the warning about changing this. So just make that a little bit bigger. There's the curve. I'm liking that, and I think that will do. No, I tell you what we'll do. Let's add a bit of glow to this so it looks like it's shining a bit more brightly. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to control click. Let's duplicate it. So I've now got a second thing. Let's just make it brighter. But to make it look like it's an actual shine, a glow, I'm going to go to filter, blur, and let's do a Gaussian blur again. Not quite so much, a lot smaller this time. 3 pixels is definitely giving it a blur. You can see the sort of effect that's going on. It need to be more than that, probably around about 3 pixels is fine. And then I think both of these just a little bit too bright, so I'm going to drop the opacity down to about 77. Let's do that one, layer 2 down to about 77 as well. So you can see the heads-up display, we can still see me. And we've seen how we can use filters, we've seen how we can use adjustment layers, masks, create little blurs and vignettes, duplicate to create some sort of glow. Actually, maybe that layer I'm just going to enlarge slightly. So again, it's going to give me that annoying warning. That's okay. Alt and Shift will mean it enlarges from the same area. So I'm just going to make it a tiny bit bigger. Press Enter. Redone it. You can't really see much of a difference, but it just sort of makes that blur a little bit bigger. So there's my heads-up display. I can save that file, save, and let's call Iron Math heads-up display, and save that picture. There you go. So your turn to put yourself in the picture and give yourself a heads-up display.